Congratulations. This is Ironman World Championship race number 4 or 5 for you.
5. Yeah.
5. And gosh, tell me about race week.
I came in a little early. I came in on Tuesday, and Jessie actually came in on Thursday, my wife, which was awesome. So it allowed me to kind of get things kind of settled and set up. However, I didn't realize when I got here how much I hate being in here all by myself. I'm used to having either you here or Jessie here or somebody here. So I kind of moped around by myself and felt sorry about for myself. And anyway, it was kind of funny. But I got things settled and was able to go to Castelli breakfast, one of our fine clothing sponsors. Went to down to the Parade of Nations. That was kind of fun. Kind of didn't do much with that. The expo, dropped my bike off with Chris Davidson, our mechanic, who dialed things in for me, which was amazing. What a true gift. Talk about when you go and check your bike in to know that it's been looked over and is in as fine a shape as it can be in. So that was great. What else did I do that week? I'm trying to think of other things that I did. Not a lot. I went for a swim a couple times. Saw Ryan from Blue 70 out on the coffee boat. That was a lot of fun. Drank a little bit of coffee out there. It was scalding hot. So, yeah, that was a lot of fun. Did all the pre-race, stuff that's fun to do. The underpants run. I know there's photos of me circulating out there in my Blue 70 shorts there that were pretty awesome, pink. They're beautiful. We went to Mike's teammates' house and during his birthday and had a phenomenal dinner up there. It seemed honestly that pre-race week was just packed with activities, but not so much that you just felt overwhelmed and tired and you're being run a little lean.
What was your mindset going into this year's race compared to years past?
Huh. I don't know if you heard Jesse laugh, but I think every year, and you hear me say this, Dave, often off the podcast, is just I just feel underprepared, and I think we all feel that way to some extent before just about every race. And I also know that going in underprepared for an event often is much better than going overprepared physically and emotionally. But I don't know why this year. I wasn't. It wasn't like I was burned out and I didn't want to race, but emotionally I had probably more nerves for this race. No reason but my own. No one said I had to do anything, but I almost was to the point where I just wanted to go home. I didn't want to be here, and I just had to get through that by myself. And then when Jessie arrived, she talked me off the cliff a couple times, but. But no, it's just something that we all go through to some extent, and I think we go through that, at any race. At the start of the race, we think, "Oh, I don't want to do this. Hope they cancel it." And but once you start that first 100 meters of the swim, you're ready to roll, or you're in the mix of it all, and you're ready to roll. So it just is, I think, what makes us human. I think we're fearful of not achieving what we in our mind want to do, and kind of letting ourselves down. And at least that's for me, and because I'm reassured time and time again that you're here, just get that T-shirt, and so that for me was tough, but we eventually got to the start, and I was pretty excited. I was ready to roll, and had a good race plan going in. So yeah, my mindset going in, I just felt the preparation was a little rough, and emotionally I was just probably a little over the edge than I normally am coming in here.
Did you feel like it was a celebration race because it was the end of the season, or it was more like I got to go through the motions, I made it here, I better appreciate and respect what I'm about to do?
I think that might be the second part. Is I have a great deal of respect for this distance period, no matter where it's at. And I think people that don't are the ones that get humbled awfully quickly the first time. So when I come here, I think that's the fear, is truly the fear or the respect that you have for it, knowing that you could be the best fit person in the world and end up, not coming in on the bike or walking the run or whatever. So it's you're going into kind of an unknown, and you have all these, you have your tools, and which is your fitness, and you have your experience, which hopefully in the form of knowledge now, and now it's about being able to get out there and drawing from this toolbox all the things that it needs at certain times, and not neglecting things, and getting caught up in the heat of the moment, or the passion, or the competitiveness of just knowing that it's like you don't need to be competitive the entire race, because often that causes you to lose sight of yourself and what you need to be doing. So for me, it's always nerve wracking. I don't think I've ever gone into an Ironman. I guess this is my 15th one that I go, I got this. This is nothing. I know everyone tells you that, but it's just like you never show up to one of these races and have any guarantees.
Did you surprise yourself from your results? Because I know they weren't too far off from last year based on your swim, maybe a minute slower, your bike, maybe a minute slower, run. I know it's the run's always that variable, but are you happy with how you performed?
Of all the times I've raced here, this wasn't my fastest time here, but I will say that it was probably the race that I was most proud of here, in terms of not just in the overall picture, but more along the lines of the race itself. I went into it, I threw out some numbers that I was shooting for. In the swim, I just wanted to swim really comfortably. And when I mean comfortably, I mean really comfortably. I was breathing very, very comfortably, getting bounced around, but I didn't care. I'm just like, I'm just going to get through this swim and I'm going to enjoy it, which I did. And I came out just under an hour and I was just shocked. I felt like I was swimming like a 110 or something. And so it felt great. Got through transition, which took me a lot longer because I put on my skins, calf sleeves, and the Castelli Stealth top, and as well as some arm coolers. And when you're putting that stuff on when you're wet is very difficult to do. Obviously in Coeur d'Alene we had that on under our wetsuits already, so you just grab and go. So took a little longer, but out on the bike, I was feeling great. I just wanted to ride again conservatively for most of it, but I hit about mile 40, 45, 50 right in there, and I was just looking at my power and my heart rate, and none of it was right. It was just my heart rate was low. My heart rate was not doing what it should be doing, and I just thought something's going south, something's not right. And I got out to Hawi finally, and I'm just like, I got to switch what I'm doing, which I had my special needs, which I just reload up my bottles, and I just decided I'm going to go to gels. And by the time I got to Kauai High coming back in, so about whatever 30 miles back, 35 miles back in, all of a sudden those gels started kicking in, and all of a sudden I started feeling so much, just like night and day. And it just started ramping up, and I was just catching people left and right. I was actually getting almost giddy. I was excited about how well I was riding into the headwind. It was blowing tough, but I'm looking at my heart rate now. It's it's too high now, and my power was too high. But I just felt like I was coming back, which was dumb. And even when I was doing it, I was saying, "This is dumb. What are you doing? You need to slow down." But I honestly thought I needed to catch up where I should have been. But anyway. But yeah, I was racing about at a half iron effort at that point. So I decided with about 10 miles to go, I should probably throttle it back. But the winds were really stiff coming back in from Kauai High. They got stiffer and stiffer as you got closer to Kona. And so I tried to slow down a little bit, stay on top of hydration, staying cool and eating. And then got on the run and had pretty normal transition, switched some socks, and got out on the run and ran my first few miles really fairly comfortably, and then but it just didn't feel good the whole time on the run. I'm just getting one foot in front of the other. I knew I put out too much on the bike from Kauai High back, and so I just thought I'm going to keep it down. It's painful, it's too hard, I'm running, so it's just like I'm in control. Just slow down a little bit, then that's pretty easy. Which I did, and got through the aid stations, and pretty much the whole run. It was tough, but I never felt like I blew up. There was a point that I walked for a little bit. I'm just like, I need to kind of reset, recalibrate here, and then I just got going again. And even coming back, I still was kind of picking up some pace here and there, kind of surging a little bit here, unintentionally, just more along the lines of like, I can run faster, but knowing I needed to hold the cards a little close to the chest as we still got a ways to go. And coming out of the energy lab, of course, energy lab's miserable. But yeah, and so that's what I was probably most proud of is taking those moments and evaluating them and adjusting and getting the hydration and the fueling I needed. And I went to Coke really early. I wouldn't recommend it. personally, but I think I went to Coke probably at mile, I want to say 13. So halfway through, I went to Coke, and I was worried about that, but I made it through. I didn't really have any GI problems or anything either, so that was nice. And um, yeah, and somehow all I wanted to do was get to mile 24. I know it's 26.2, but I wanted to get to 24, get up Mark and Dave Hill, and it gets you to come down Palani, then Kuakini, and then by the time you're at the top of Palani, it's just pretty much you're running home on emotion. You're going down Palani, which is like I don't know, what is that, about a 8% grade, and then you take the left onto Kuakini, which is flat and kind of gradual, and then you take a right and you're down onto Ali'i Drive, and the crowd takes you pretty much all the way to the finish at that point. So, yeah, there's the whole race. So I got down and I was still running fast and passing a few people um, along the, I guess, on Ali'i Drive, and then there were three guys ahead of me, which is hilarious. Here in a second, but I didn't want to pass them because I didn't want to cross the finish line with a bunch of people. I wanted just to be by myself, and there was no one behind me because I passed people a bit ago. So I thought, I'll let these guys go ahead of me, and I won't pass them in the chute, even though I, could have, but I didn't want to be that guy. Kind of looks silly. And lo and behold, I get this email later from Russ Abrams, a friend of ours, who says, "Do you realize that there were 9 people within a minute and a half of you, in your age group, and 3 of them, of course, were right in front of me, which I chose not to pass, and then there was a few others, but I thought it was kind of funny. But again, what's the difference? I think I was 38th maybe in my age group, and let's say I passed 9 people, it puts me into I don't go up that much, I'm not in the top 10." But but in terms of looking at numbers of prior years and so forth, it definitely showed that this race was quite similar to the races I did last year, which I consider last year a great race in terms of a result. Um, and this year it was just hotter. It was tough conditions this year. I know it's Hawaii; it's always hot, but it was hot. It was really hot.
And you had a nice little fist pump there crossing the finish line we saw
Yeah,
on the live feed.
yeah, I was. Yeah. So I was just happy to get through that, especially starting the run when I feel like I overbiked and just going, now I got to run. I mean, I had visions of glow sticks. I had visions of just starting to, when should I start walking, the rest of the way. And somehow I just kept at it. So I had great support out there, lots of people out there cheering. And it was great to have again, was she was everywhere essentially that she could be, which was cool. And Allie and Tyler Stitt were out there as well, and obviously Tristan and all the great Timex people. So yeah, it was pretty fun.
Well,
Hot though.
congratulations for your, I'm sorry, you said fifth or
Fifth time here in Kona,
Kona,
yeah.
and 15th career Ironman finish.
Right, yeah. They're adding up.
You're not a spring chicken anymore.
I know. Jeez, trust me, when I'm down here, you realize just how fast people go. So